Welcome to another edition of Growing in Grace. I'm your humble host, Chico Whitaker. Today I'm joined by my son, Dominic Whitaker, who's sitting beside me. Uh, in previous years, whenever we did this program for Mother's Day, uh, I generally had music, poems, or whatever. So I know Mother's Day was yesterday, and sometimes we do the program in previous years, the week before or leading to Mother's Day. But today, uh, we're gonna do a tribute to my mother, and also, uh, we just want to thank all the mothers that raised young men, women, or grandmothers that took in their kids when the children's mothers perhaps fell ill, made bad decisions. The grandmother raised the children. So we just want to say thank you to all the mothers out there. And if I can ask you a question today, the question is, how did you spend Mother's Day? I know a lot of you might have been, some of you children, which is no longer children now, that are grown, moved into other states, uh, got jobs or in the military and weren't able to spend time with your mothers. But for those that came back, flew into the city, states, or wherever your parents was, went to their hospital bed, visited them at the nursing home, and I know there was millions and millions went to the cemetery to plant flowers, to talk to their parents, to put up balloons. I just want to say thank you for remembering your Mother's Day because it's a hard job, especially when one mother or one parent is trying to raise kids. So to all you mothers out there, we salute you, thank you, and God bless you for the job you have done. Thank you. Dominic, can you tell us a little bit about Mother's Day, when it was started?
Um, Give me 1 second.
If you don't mind, please.
Mother's Day started in 1908. I'm gonna read this little passage that my pops want to read me. It say, in the wake of her mother's death in 1905, Jarvis wanted to set aside a day to honor the sacrifices of mothers for their children. In May 1908, she organized the first official Mother's Day celebration at a church in Grafton, West Virginia, according to history.
Anything else with that?
No, that was just the only thing to say. Just Mother's Day started in May 1908.
Okay. And we know that mothers work tireless to make sure that their children life is okay. They have food on the table. They dress them. They take them to school. We have soccer mothers. We have mothers that are working now and raising the family. And it's a tiring test. But they do it, some without complaining. So today, I want to tell you a little bit about my mother. Her name was Bernita Whitaker. She was born in Memphis, Tennessee, back in 1938, September the 7th in 1938. She was raised by Amy Lee Guyton and Mackenzie Whitaker. Uh, Later on, in 1942, they migrated to St. Louis for a while, and then they came up north. Um, my mother had 6 children. One of them preceded her in death, which was my middle sister, Tanya Whitaker, who died in 2013. My mother, uh, when she came here, Deborah was the firstborn. That's my older sister. And then it was me, Chico, a brother, Ricardo Whitaker. As I said earlier, my sister Tanya, my late sister Tanya. Then it's my sister Amy Whitaker and my younger brother Julico Whitaker. Uh, I never knew my father, but my mother, my grandfather, and my grandmother raised us. After they died, my grandmother died in '63 due to cancer. Uh, Later on, my grandfather died a few years later. So we were staying on 15th over my uncle Robert, and he had 7 kids. So within the two-family flat, there was 13 children uh, in one house. Well, I mean, two houses. This is a top dwelling, and then it was a bottom dwelling. So it was a two-family flat. And the Whitakers, we played and had a good time as my mother raised us. Our uncle was the first black driver for Fago, and he helped raise us and everything for a while. Him and his wife, Mary, was looking after us when my mother was working. Fast forward, as we went to Goldberg School, we weren't able to stay in the afternoon and have hot lunches and so forth. So when we would go home, Mama would always have several things for us. It would be pot pies back in those days, uh, peanut butter and jelly, soup, or either cereal. But her raising 6 children plus working, it was never easy for her, but she did it and she made sacrifices. So I wanted to congratulate my mother for what she did as a single parent, raising 6 children, 3 boys and 3 girls. Right now, I'd like you to hear part of the theme song for this program, and I'll come back and tell you a little bit more about my mother.
Hear the trumpet as Gabriel sounds the call, sounds the call. And at the midnight cry, we'll be going home. I look around me and I see prophecy fulfilled every day, and the signs of the time, they're appearing everywhere. I can almost see the Father say, son, go get my children.
Okay, this is Growing in Grace. I'm your host, Chico Whitaker, joined by Dominic, my son. The question is, how did you spend Mother's Day with your family? Dominic, tell us a little bit about Mama.
Mama, Mama, she great. She a great mom, whether, you feel me, we liked it or not. She made sure we was straight, whether we liked it or not. She always made sure we had clothes, food, a house, hood over our head, you feel me, warm. She always made sure everything was right. She was a great mom. She is a great mom still to this day. She was always there for me, whether I didn't see it or if I always feel like she wasn't there for me. She was always there for me, and my pops too, but especially my mom. She was a great mom. Always there for me. And
Would you like to give her a shout out?
oh yeah, Mama Rosemary Whitaker. That's my mom for sure. She outside in the car. If you watching this, hey Ma, I love you. Happy belated Mother's Day.
Yes. He's talking about my wife, Rosemary, who works tirelessly behind the set, making sure that we have a great program, and she assists me through some of my duties, as I prepare for this Growing in Grace program. I love you, Rosie. Thanks for all you've done. And before I finish talking about my mother, Bernita Whitaker, I want to give a shout out to my wife, Rosemary. Beside me, I have my youngest son, Dominic. Uh, Me and my wife married back in uh, December the 24th, 1999. And when we got married, it was Christmas Eve. Her sister was around the table along with her aunt. Her late sister was Emma Jean. And we were going together for a while. And her sister, before she passed, she told us somebody's going to get married this year or it's going to be a funeral. And I so often tease my in-laws from time to time when we at social events or whatever, when people ask you, how did you meet your wife? At that time, I was working at Farmer Jack's supermarket, and her brother was driving a Pepsi truck. He was a vendor, and while he was driving a Pepsi truck, was in a relationship, and I had just broken up. And I was feeling a little down, and her brother, Alonzo Garden, came by, and, we used to kick it. I went over their house on Lily Bridge, and I got a chance to meet Alonzo and his wife, Ann. And while I was telling him about my problems, he mentioned it to his wife. We had dinner, and he said this person would be nice for Rosemary. And at that time, I was standing on my bachelor's pad on Orleans, and I had my own house, staying in a luxurious apartment right next to 1300 Lafayette Towers. Had a swimming pool in the backyard and bachelor pad, and I wasn't thinking about maybe getting into another relationship or dating at the time because I had broken up for a hard relationship. And fast forward maybe a year and a half later, I was kicking it with my homie, and he took me over his sister's house, and her father was alive then, which was Alonzo, and me and him hit it off. And when I went over there to their house, I believe she made meatloaf, mac and cheese, collard greens, chicken, and cornbread. I forget what the dessert, but they always said the way to a man's heart is through a woman's cooking. So while his sister brought the food at the table, we talked, but Junior and his wife, which Alonzo, they was watching us in every word. So after I ate, we talked for a few minutes, and while I was going out the door, his sister, Rosemary, slipped me her number. She said, here's my number. You can call me if you want to. So I was at home one time, and I wouldn't say I was feeling down, but I might have been a little lonely. I called this number, and we chatted for about close to 3 hours. So then she started to come over my house with her sister Jean. And this was like maybe in January of 1990. So we kicked it for a while as far as talking and everything. Then we finally got together. And we've been an item ever since. But I'm going to tell you about my wife. She's an extraordinary person. Her and her sister was working at this daycare, Rising Star. And after we clicked, and our children was born, my son was born in, my son was born in, my son was born and March the 6th, 2091. It was Chico Jr. He's been on the program, the broadcast a couple of times. My daughter was born June the 12th in 2092. My daughter was born June the 12th, in 1992. So they were some beautiful children. I loved them very much. And fast forward to 2000, after my wife left the daycare, she told me, what do you think about doing not adoption, but we were doing child care. And well, no, let me change that. We did foster care. And from the year 2000, she asked me about it before then. And I said, no, I'd rather wait till my children get a little bigger. From 2000, and I want to say back in April, to maybe 2006, we had close to 41 children in our home. Now listen to me closely. When I say 41 children, it was not all at once. We had three children named Zaire, Lakira, and Jimmy. These were some of the kids we had. Their name was Harris. They had a family 9. Then later on we got Jimmy and Kylie. These was 2 brothers. They came into our home after the other kids got adopted. Then we had what's the one used to go to church with us?
Jay Sean?
No. They used to live with us.
Latif?
Yeah, Latif. Latif, he was our first foster child. But they had like a respite program where you get children and they stay overnight for 48 hours. So we had an emergency we had to get them in. The most we had at one time was 6 from Candace. And it was so many, I can't remember all their names. And we were patient and we were loving. And you just can't get foster kids. Now, I'm telling you, for those that want to raise foster kids, you got to have a clean background because the state does an extensive study or profile into your life, your livelihood, your family members, your background, and everything. And it took us almost 10 months before we received an answer. And after 2005, children was in and out of our home. You know, they got adopted. Some got back into the system. We met this fine young man, and his name is, tell him your name.
Dominic.
Tell him about your 5 brothers. Give them, mention them.
I got 5 brothers. I'm the youngest.
Names.
My name Dominic. Then I got Trayvon, Jalen, Desmond, and then my baby Bone. He passed away not too long ago. I don't live him. And then my 5 brothers.
Okay. Now, Dominic, him and his brothers, it was 6 of them. Also, he had a little sister that got adopted too. So it was 6 of them from the Witherspoon family and the Diggs family. Now, we was going up to got them, and we was doing foster care. We was going to a certain agency, and I won't mention their name. And when they came in 2006, it was an emergency situation. I believe the house almost got burned down. And we got them on an emergency situation. And they came and stayed with us from 2006 to 2009. And I must tell you, they were some busy young men, but we loved them all. And a lot of times when you get children, something about the foster generation, when a person get children and adopt them, a lot of times they want younger children. And we was just doing foster care, and we got them, we enjoyed them. Now, foster care means we can get them, and at any time, someone else can get them, and they can get it adopted. So, in the foster care system, when we got Dominic, he was somewhere around 6 months to a year. And we had to go back to the agency every so often so their regular parents can see them. And that was like every 2 weeks, they would have like a couple hour visit. And while their regular parents were seeing them and everything, then they would come back to our house. So a decision came up. And the decision was, do you want to adopt the children, or they go back to the agency? Well, there wasn't no second guess, because me and my wife had them for 3 years, and had they went back into the agency, Dominic and Jalen would have probably got adopted first, because when the adoption care agency, when people come to adopt kids, they want to adopt the babies first or the younger kids, because the older kids will already develop their own personality. And some of them talk back, but we didn't have that situation with our children, Dominic and his siblings. So we loved them. We loved them all. So when it came for time to adopt them in 2009, we submitted the papers and sent everything back to Lansing and the other agencies, because we didn't want to see them get separated. So we adopted them as a family, and it worked for us. Now, let me tell you something. Some people do it for loneliness. Some do it for love. But back in the 80s, I was going to Shaw College, and the young lady told me that she did foster care, and she brought 2 homes and a car. Now, if that's what you want to do it for, that's the wrong reason. They do give you a stipend every month, and then they pay the children's medical insurance. But the children needs love, and that's why for so many people, when they watch maybe this particular station on ABC, this local station here, they do something every Thursday, I believe. It's called A Child Is Waiting. And that's all you see is these teenagers, children. And they desire for somebody to adopt them. But a lot of people adopted the younger children, the baby children, because they don't want teenagers talking back to them or perhaps stealing from them. But it's been a love affair ever since. I hate to report, but a year ago, we lost one of my sons. Can you tell us about your brother?
Bone, that's what we used to call him. His name was Anthony. For me, he was just different for
Coming from the store? What happened?
coming from the store. Coming from the store, he got shot, and he ain't make it. He got passed away.
Yes. Dominic's brother, which was my son, Anthony, got shot. It's been all over the news last year, around this time, around Mother's Day. We had just went to visit him, and he came out to our van and said, "Mom, I love you. I got a gift for you. I'm coming over Mother's Day." Him and his uncle was coming from a store, and somebody tried to rob them, and they got shot accidentally. I mean, they got shot and they died, and it's been a painful experience for us. We're just going through it now, but we're dealing with it much better, and so this is why Dominic is on the program. We're talking about Mother's Day. and about his siblings. He was adopted. He's no longer adopted now. He's family. I love him and everything. But it's hard for mothers to raise kids, especially when they lose children. So we're saluting mothers today. And also, back to the Whitaker's family, my mother, she raised 6 children, 3 boys and 3 girls. It was hard, it was difficult, but she did it, and she succeeded. But she got sick, developed diabetes, cancer, and also had a heart attack. She was in this hospital on the Boulevard in the Lodge back in January of January 87. We talked to her doctor, and the doctor told her, she said, Mrs. Williamson, and Miss Williams, the doctor name was Dr. Washington. And I can remember it in my head as it was yesterday. They said, if you don't stop smoking, you will be gone in 6 months. Fast forward in 2000, fast forward to 98, July the 3rd, 1987, my mother passed cancer and a heart attack. But I can recall my mother was sitting in the hospital when I was going through surgery every day down there receiving. My mother had a fall in 78. And as I wrap this up, she had a fall in 78 and gangrene, she fell out of bed. Gangrene set in on her foot. We used to have to go to a receiving hospital around Easter time. Then when it was downtown, I believe on St. Antoinette or whatever. And while we was going down there, we were to see her. One Sunday we went to see her. Gangrene was spreading up to her legs. So they had to amputate again. So it was a hard test for her. She wasn't able to do a lot for us then. But me and my sister Deborah watched us because we was the eldest. And as we took care of her, it wasn't bad for us to do because I had stopped my job. Deborah was working for someone downtown and everything. And when Deborah would come from her job to go to the hospital, I would leave and get some rest. So when my mother came home and everything, we took care of her around the clock. We didn't put her in no center and agency because she took care of us. But what I want to say, I love you, Mom. I miss you. But God loved you best. He sent you home. Dominic loves his mother. And there's a lot of mothers out there that's working entirely. So I did have a poem to read, but I won't read it right now due to time. But I would like to say, fathers work from son to son, but a mother's work is never done. For those that didn't see your mother yesterday, send her a telegram. Try to get some time off if you're out of state to visit her. Love your mother. For those that have parents in the nursing home, please don't forget about them because they need you. They're lonely and they cannot do without you. Give your parents all the love you can. And also serve the Lord in all thy ways, acknowledge him, and he direct their path. I had some scriptures to read, but perhaps I'll pick it up on another day. Jesus here, remember thy mother. For you all out there, remember your mother and your family. Give them love, because when they're gone, they can't smell the flowers. Until next time, this is Growing in Grace. Give us closing comments, Dominic.
Happy belated Mother's Day. That's all.
Okay, happy belated Mother's Day. That's all we can say. Love thy mother with all their heart. Thank you, and God bless you all.
God bless you all. Amen.
I hear the sound of a mighty rushing wind, and it's closer now than it's ever been. I can almost hear the trumpet as Gabriel sounds the call, sounds the call, and at the